Doing something a little different today. Been catching a few brook trout and up on the Androscoggin in New Hampshire. And a lot of people don't, well, a lot of people know it, a lot of people know it and don't like it, but there's a really heavy, healthy concentration of smallmouth bass in this river. And going to do a little bit of Androscoggin smallmouth bass fishing. Caught about 5 or 6 so far. I just want to retie my lure, take a break actually, and retie and put a new jig on. But they're a lot of fun. These pre-spawn smallmouth in the river with this current, 6-pound test line, light action rod, medium action rod actually. I mean, it's like it's a lot of work to get it in. But been doing pretty good, so I'm just going to do a quick little video on it. And all I'm using is the bismuth non-lead swimming jig head. No secrets, I'll show you exactly what I'm using. Okay, available at Walmart. And with the bismuth, you know, you have to use a little bit heavier than you usually would, because, or not heavier, but it's actually a bigger head because it's not as heavy as lead. And in New Hampshire, we can't use lead anymore if it's under an ounce or less than an inch. So I'm just going to put a quick knot on. And what I'm doing in this case is I have I've got a pretty strong current coming down. What you can see is I've got a nice strong current here coming under that bridge. All right, if you will. And what happens is I'll throw my bait right about there. Okay, as far, you know, out quite a ways, and just let it drift. And then once I start to get into that eddy, right about there, I just bring it back towards me. And those bass are sitting right over there in the shade under that dead wood over there and all that floating debris. But there's a bunch of rocks that they're actually, there's a lot of cover right there. There's a bunch of rocks that they can find cover in. So let it drift out of that current into the eddy, the nice calm water. Start bringing it back to me, and hopefully we'll hook up. As soon as it comes out of that current, they'll lock in right up on it, because they're just sitting there in that nice calm water, just minding their own business, waiting for something to come along. And when something does, boom. And I think I've caught 6 or 7 so far. One was almost 3 pounds. I actually pretty healthy fish, very healthy actually. So a lot of fun to catch. It's such an overlooked fishery, the smallmouth bass. A lot of guys hate them. You know, because they want to catch trout and they're in the trout waters, and I understand, but the smallmouth bass are such a great fish to catch, and we've got a legacy with made in New Hampshire. I used to live on the best, well, what was the best smallmouth bass fishery in New England at one time, Lake Wentworth. That was a long time ago. Things have changed, but that used to have such a healthy population of smallmouth bass, and it still does. But it doesn't rank up there with you know, some of the other places now. But anyway, I just put it on there with a simple clinch knot. Trusty Benchmade, still in logs. Been using this thing ever since you gave it to me. It's the best knife, one of the best everyday carry knives I have. Trim that off nice and neat. Then we're going to take our jig head, and all it is, I'll be honest with you, just a crappie jig. Okay, no big secret. And again, we're on the Androscoggin River in the 13-mile woods, and a lot of people don't associate smallmouth bass fishing with the 13-mile woods or the Androscoggin River. So try to do something different all the time, and I don't know too many people up here fishing for smallmouth, but if you want to have some fun, here's a place to do it. Good population, good healthy population of them. And you take your tube jig, okay, and you just put it on. I'm sure everybody knows how to do this, but there's always someone that asks. So what you do is you put it so the hook comes out through the skirt. There's a little barb right there, you can see it. Push the tube jig right over that. Now, I have found in rivers, I've always done better with small baits. Small presentation in these rivers, I've always outfished. I mean, in Lake Wentworth I can catch smallies, or a lot of lakes I can catch them on big spinner baits and stuff, but these rivers I have the smaller presentation has always been more productive. You catch them on flies too. I mean, they're a ball to catch on flies. A lot of guys do. I'm not sure what the best pattern here is. Probably a crayfish pattern, because this is loaded with crayfish. So if I was going to fish for smallmouth on a fly, I'd probably look for something that resembled a crayfish. But anyway, I'm going to stick to the old tried and true red and white tube jig. I've been fishing this for 25 years now. So we catch a few more. And my rod, actually, no frills here, $20 telescopic Eagle Claw, okay, 20 bucks, 6-pound Stren, and a $25 Syncopat reel, 1000, with 6-pound test on it. So the whole package I've got maybe less than $50 into. And I like this because it's telescopic. Okay, when I'm out canoeing or whatever, if you will. It folds right up. Boom. When I get to my fishing spot, put it in my pack basket or whatever, and get to the spot where you want to fish, and guess what? I got a full-size rod. It's fiberglass, so it is parabolic. Not much of a backbone, but I like it that way for this type of fishing. Puts a lot more fight into it. All right, let's see what we can do. That's a nice fish right there, buddy. Androscoggin smallmouth at his finest. Beautiful fish. Never know what you're going to catch in the Androscoggin. A little roach, or a little creek chub. a nice one. Very strong fish. These things are a ton of fun to catch. You see, just beautiful, healthy fish. I'm gonna put it back though, real quick. And there he goes. Back into those current. That strong current.